Some Republicans just found out today what Elon Musk had said before the election about us all facing temporary hardship. They then looked to the stock market to see what was going on there, and the experts are saying, and their only question is, what about my retirement? What about your retirement?
No, but I do think we need to have a serious conversation about this whole Obamacare bad but Affordable Care Act good thing. Instead of mocking the people who think that, let's talk about what it actually shows us, because I think that's important, and it's going to be so important moving forward for the next 4 years. The right wing is and has always been excellent with their marketing.
When I was a kid, I always dreamt to live in the States, because when you grew up in a communist country like Poland in the 80s, you literally have nothing, and then you see all these movies in the 90s and you want to move here because this is everything you can dream of.
Hey guys, welcome back again to the channel. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much for clicking when you saw this video. So in today's video,
Instagram and Facebook are about to be the new United Fruit and ExxonMobil. Corporations the United States government has a special relationship with. It protects them and it uses them as tools to exert its influence and advance its objectives abroad. You can tell this from the video that Zuck just made announcing an end to content moderation, an end to trust and safety, and the movement of the teams that will still be around to Texas, a state where they'll be less influenced by the cultural norms of California. He's also pushed out Nick Clegg, who was their political policy director, and replaced him with Joel Kaplan, who used to work for George W. Bush's White House and has pushed Facebook to be friendly with conservative sites. And on the board of directors for Meta, he's placed Dana White, the UFC promoter who introduced Donald Trump at the 2024 convention. And, Zuck has been piloting off to Mar-a-Lago to talk to Trump all the time. I would be surprised if Zuck were an ideological MAGA guy or conservative. I think a better way to look at Zuck is that he's a neo-lib institutionalist sort of person, and his main goal is to make the world continue to appear and look the way it looked out of a dorm window at Harvard in 2005. In order to further that goal, he's decided that the partnership he's going to strike in coalition is with the Trump White House. I would imagine that he's gotten some kind of deal, and I think it is a United Fruit ExxonMobil type deal. Meta will get special privileges, it will get more of a hand to play in foreign policy and domestic policy, and in return it will do the work of the administration and of the political regime that has been installed. It will help cement the Republican media narratives. It will help make sure that the right influencers that Trump and people sort of handpick get to the top. And it's an interesting play against Elon as well. I'd imagine it's sort of balancing power, and that Trump kind of wants to play Zuck against Musk. The most interesting implications of this are going to be in foreign policy. We're seeing the world divide into two different camps, sort of a Chinese-led internet and then an American-led one. And lately within that American camp, Meta and X have faced problems from the Brazilian courts, from European regulators who want people to have data privacy. And I could imagine the American state being used kind of by Meta to help remove these obstacles in front of their data collection, in front of their platform governance. And increasingly, we're also going to see Meta making what Shoshana Zuboff, the scholar of surveillance capitalism, calls a governance play, where certain functions of the government will begin to be carried out by Meta. Already we see this in the way the tech platforms administer a lot of markets, in the way they are used as forms of ID for different online transactions, but I think we're going to see it even more. And the interesting thing might be to see Meta become this kind of quasi-government entity in some way. And as it relates to the TikTok ban, this is probably bad news if you want to see the platform survive in the United States. The TikTok CEO also went to Mar-a-Lago to lobby Trump, but odds are he didn't get the same deal that Zuck got, because Zuck is the owner of an American company, and Zuck has more leverage over the United States government, and Zuck is also more aligned with them ideologically. We're living in an era of great power conflict, and we're kind of caught in the middle. I don't think that either of these big platforms or governments are necessarily on your side, and everyone's going to try to be making a play for your attention, making a play for your loyalties in the weeks and months ahead. But I think the number one thing to understand is that none of this is happening because of users. None of this is happening for users. This is happening as a power play to try to gain leverage and control over parts of the world in a way that is fundamentally undemocratic.
If you find this funny, wait until you find out what is also referred to as a 小红书. Little Red Book.
When I was a kid, I always dreamt to live in the States, because when you grew up in a communist country like Poland in the 80s, you literally have nothing. And then you see all these movies in the 90s and you want to move here because this is everything you can dream of. But then your dream came true. And now I'm 41, living in the States for the past 3 years. And, and it's sad. It's sad what is happening to America, because it's exactly what happened in Russia, oligarchy system, and they want to silence media. Billionaires tell you how to live, having no experience what it means to have no food and no money. And now there's the women losing their rights, and people of color, immigrants, are nobody here, because the white power is telling you how to live. So right now, I don't know, Russia, America, what's the fucking difference? It's very similar, and people who think it's not, he's not even sworn in, and he hasn't started yet. So sorry. I'm so sorry for the people who tried. Because this time, it's not about Democrats. It's not about Republicans. It was more because power is power. They always above us. But the thing is, it was about everyone or billionaires. And it's definitely not about anyone anymore. It's just about them, their power. And if you don't like Democrats, it's not that. Guys, it's not that. It's not like they want to be, oh my God, liberal. And so, if they were thinking about everyone else, they wanted to include every single person to have a better life. But you, MAGA people, decided otherwise. And you're not even in it. He's not even sworn in. And this is already happening. You really don't realize what's going to happen to your country.
For those of you entering your finding out era, this is your reminder that we're only 2 weeks in. You're going to want to buckle up, because you've got 4+ more years of this.
No, but I do think we need to have a serious conversation about this whole Obamacare bad but Affordable Care Act good thing. Instead of mocking the people who think that, let's talk about what it actually shows us, because I think that's important, and it's going to be so important moving forward for the next 4 years. The right wing is and has always been excellent with their marketing. They have drilled it into people that Obamacare is bad, that anything associated with Obama is bad. But it works. People say they hate Obamacare, but then you've got all these individuals saying, oh, but I hope they don't take away my Affordable Care Act. And we've known this for quite some time now, actually, because they've done, surveys and studies that show when you ask, how do you feel about Obamacare, people respond negatively. But when you break it down and ask people how they feel about the individual components of the Affordable Care Act, there's like a 70 or 80% approval. And we see the same thing in Florida, too. What was it, only 2 years ago, where Florida passed a higher minimum wage, but voted for all Republicans. And we saw it again this year too. Florida, it didn't pass, but 57% of people voted in favor of keeping abortion access. In Florida, that's crazy. And again, it didn't pass because the Republicans who are in charge know that something like that is actually pretty favorable, so they set the bar at 60%, not just 50% the majority like almost every other state. And I'm just begging the Democratic establishment to recognize that they think their problem is that they're not center enough. They need to go more moderate, more centrist. But their actual problem is that they're just really bad at marketing. They are out of touch with the general population. And quite honestly, a lot of you are out of touch too. Let's stop grammar shaming people that voted for Trump and then being shocked when the right wing has it out for the left. Nobody cares how you're spelling there. You know what they're trying to say. But anyway, I just really hope that the Democratic establishment recognizes people want progressive ideas. It just needs to be palatable to the general population. We need to do a better job of making the information digestible. Maybe instead of spending the next 4 years finding the most moderate, basic white man you can, I don't know, invest in like a PR firm. What's Molly McPherson doing for the next 4 years? And I understand that we are all upset and frustrated and anxious and scared about what the next 4 years are going to look like. I am too. But shaming people isn't going to help the situation. That's not going to bring them into the fold. It's just going to exile them from us even more. For anyone that's been paying attention seriously, it feels very much like Republicans have been playing chess for the last 40 years and Democrats are like just now opening up a checkers box. And I don't know, maybe the best use of our time over the next 4 years is to learn how to play chess.
There was a time that America was a dream for a lot of persons. People wanted to move to the US. A lot of people wanted to come to America. People were looking forward to being a part of the US someday or become a citizen of the country. People wanted to come to the US. But with the recent developments and everything that have been coming out or happening all this while, people complaining the cost of healthcare, the cost of groceries, and now that the new policy is about to be enacted about the 25% tariff, a lot is just happening, and people who are already in the US are crying out and saying, you know what, I think it's time we'll pack up and leave, okay? Even people who are US citizens are also migrating to other parts of the world because of the cost of healthcare and the cost of every other thing that they've been complaining about and the recent policies which are going to be coming up. So people are not just finding that funny, right? Now, for people who voted against Obamacare thinking that it is not the ACA, I don't know what you guys did. I don't know what gave you that idea that you are voting against Obamacare and not Affordable Care Act. Like, how do you use something for years and never knew where it's coming from or what the full meaning of that thing is? Because who calls a healthcare services Obamacare instead of its name, right? You would have just find out where it's coming from. A simple Google search would have just done the magic, and all of this finding out error wouldn't have just been here. But you guys didn't think about that. You just wanted, to have your tax cuts. You wanted to make sure that you don't pay taxes on overtime. You wanted lower groceries. You wanted cheaper eggs. Like a lot of people are just always saying cheaper eggs and cheaper eggs. You wanted cheaper gases. You wanted cheaper gas and cheaper everything. But forgetting the fact that you needed to make some researches and find out exactly what you are getting yourself into. And that's the reason why a lot of you are just finding out right now. Anyway, guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Let's have that conversation in the comments. What do you think about these videos? Okay, share with me in the comment section, and please do well subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button right now to be a part of the family, and please do not forget to like this video as well so that more people can see it. See you guys on my next video. Bye, guys.